Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Lewis and Kyle Show. We're going to do this one a little bit differently today. My cousin reached out to me and had some questions. He's interested in starting his own podcast. I'll introduce him in a minute. But I've had this conversation with a lot of people a lot of times, and I just figured, David asks good questions. He's a smart guy, and I've repeated this conversation a number of times with a number of people. I figured it might make sense to just record this one and share it with anyone who's curious to see how I answer questions and think about how to start a podcast, what tools you should use, and my thinking on the process. So we'll see if this is interesting to you. It's an experiment. But yeah, so I'm going to introduce my cousin here, David. His screen name, computer name, not screen name, computer name, but stage name, let's call it, nickname is Dave Diddy. He's a student manager at Ohio State. From what he's told me, he wants to, for the basketball team, create a podcast about college basketball. And this is just going to be casual. It's completely unstructured. David's going to kind of run the show, and I'm just going to answer questions, kind of flip the script, and we'll go from there. But David, this is going to be fun. I'm glad you reached out.
Hey, appreciate you helping me out.
But let's start from, why do you want to start your podcast? What do you have in mind?
Like, why do I want to start it, or what do I have in mind for it, or both?
Let's just hit it both. So we're just going to dump all the context and try to make sense of it after the fact.
Yeah, so I want to start it just because, but the people out there don't. I'm just very passionate about basketball, college basketball, all sports really, but mainly just basketball. And I figured, I always talk about it. I have a friend, Dan, who's a manager at Oregon, and my friend Nick plays at UNLV for the Rebels. And we'll talk for literally hours on FaceTime, just like different strategies or coaches or things going on. And we were on a FaceTime like last week, and we're like, why not just record this, put it out to the world just for fun? We can keep our own records, see what we hit on, see what we missed on. And a lot of times we'll be like, oh, what did we say then? But we forgot what we actually said. So like having
a record of your predictions too, some call outs.
Yeah. Keep the receipts.
Exactly.
So that's the main flexing. Reason.
Okay. I like that. And do you think this is something you'd want to do even after you graduate?
Yeah. Just sort of continue it.
You want your career, right, to be basketball.
Yeah.
Like you want to take that coaching
podcast. Path. Can't hurt to have that.
That's cool. Do y'all have a name in mind?
No. We're in the rough stages. I just had to go to the
rough stages.
Mastermind and pick his brain about everything first.
All right. So what questions do you have kind of starting off?
Yeah, the main one is just like from the technical and logistical side. What do you recommend in terms of apps to use? Are they free? What you do with recordings? How do you compress those into files for YouTube and Apple Podcasts? Literally everything basically from the technical side.
Everything from the technical side. That's a great question. So I started off in Zoom, right? So I started this podcast in March of 2020. And I think what's important for a lot of people is to not care about getting everything perfect on day one. It kind of depends, right? If you have a budget, right? So I think about the, what's the show with Brandon Marshall and Ocho Cinco called?
Uninterrupted?
No, it's not Uninterrupted. I forget what it's called. But
yeah.
So for example, basically the point is if you're already a pro athlete and you have a big budget, then just send it, right? And get all the right stuff and hire someone and pay all the money to make it crazy and whatever. But if y'all are just 3 college students, I would just start where you are and definitely get a USB mic. So that's $100 commitment from each person. But there's probably a lot of good holiday deals right now. I'm using the HyperX Quadcast. I can pull it up, but that might make it sound really funky. Maybe I'll just show it on the frame when you're talking and I'll just put it into the camera. But I use the HyperX Quadcast. I use the Blue Yeti for a while. That's totally fine. And you're going to be on your AirPods right now using your MacBook's built-in microphone, and it's going to be fine, right? People aren't going to not listen to this because of that.
Yeah.
I've listened to some podcasts that are just booty, right? It's just not good audio. But if the content's good, people just power through. And what's important is just kind of trusting that you'll continue to get your process better over time. I use simplecast.com is where I host my content. And there's free choices. There's other choices. There's anchor.fm, which is really apparently super plugged into Spotify. If you want to be kind of Spotify heavy versus more Apple Podcast heavy, that one might be free. But I use simplecast.com. It's worked fine. No problem. I have good analytics. It's super easy to use. I think we pay between $15 and $20 per month for that service. And it's just super basic user interface. I was planning actually on doing some screen sharing, which I can probably do as well in a minute. But simplecast.com, I can show everyone what we see here. Share. This probably is going to be better as a YouTube episode. I've been like debating in my head if I want to publish this both on YouTube and the podcast feed. But this is what I use. Come in here, shows me my analytics for the show. So kind of a slow leak, what we haven't published since kind of that peak here. But episodes, and then this episode, Jacob Greenfeld. Where did that go? So this is one, that we're publishing pretty soon here. And you just come right in here, write title, URL you want to add, episode name and number, the summary, some links, etc. Contributors, upload some artwork. So I just got some Canva going for that. That's right here. And put the picture in there, put the audio file in, and then publish it. And this automatically will distribute to Apple and Spotify and Castbox and Overcast and Pandora. And that pretty much takes care of the audio. Right now, we're recording on Riverside FM. Like I said, we use Zoom at the start, which was fine. You run into that 40-minute limit for the free tier. And Riverside's basically probably the same price. And the biggest difference is that you record all of your files. What Zoom records is what the person who's recording sees on their screen as it happens. So, for example, if I had you pinned to the big screen the whole time, or you might have yourself, if you're like egotistical, you might have your friend who's got the worst camera. You might just, or if you have a guest, right, you have the guest on your screen pinned the whole time, and then the three of you small or something.
Yeah.
If you record that, your Zoom product is going to come out with that person's face big and all of yours small. Versus this, right, is recording both yourself and myself in separate video tracks. And then you can, in the editing process, post after the fact, set it up where it's me when I'm talking, you when you're talking, or kind of a side-by-side like we have right now, the way we're currently seeing it. So that's something we matured to, but there's really no reason not, if you have the budget, to start out with Riverside. I think it's a really solid tool. I don't see a reason. I don't think that it is worth the effort and complexity on the outset to publish live. I think that's way more, it's just not worth the effort. At least, I don't know, maybe that's something you can grow into over time, but I think I was telling you this over text that by far the hardest part of running the show with Kyle and then all the guests we've had is that getting three people in the same place at the same time is really hard. And then getting everyone to agree to that live, and just, it adds a lot of difficulty. But that's the technical so Riverside FM records it, and then you download it into a video editing software, and then you edit it with whatever sounds and stuff you want to add. Kyle and I've really pared it down over time. I guess you could call it the level of detail required to add the quote audio engineering to the show, because we used to have an intro song and you kind of had to fade it, and we wanted it to come over our voices. And at the end of the day, people don't listen to your show because you have a good sound sequence, right? If they like it, they like it. And if they don't like it, they don't like it. So we just do a teaser. Sometimes we're kind of phasing those out where it's maybe a cool little 30-second soundbite from the episode. And then maybe someone introducing the episode. So this episode, I talked to David, and there's a whoosh sound effect. Literally I went to a free music archives or free open source sounds.com, downloaded a whoosh or some kind of transition-y noise, right? And just boom, boom. I mean, the people listening to this, if they've listened to another episode, will know what I'm talking about here, but it's well, and welcome to the show with David. We're going to talk about this. Enjoy. Whoosh. Maybe if you have an advertisement, you do the advertisement, then another whoosh or transition effect, then the episode. Then I like to do a conclusion, because I think that it forces me to reflect on the episode, talk about the three things that I learned from doing that conversation, and whoosh into that, and then it ends. But I would say don't even worry about the music unless someone on Film Team wants to do that stuff. But basically, unless the podcast is how you're making your money in life, which I don't think is the goal anytime soon, for the podcast to be the primary source of income for you. For a side project to have staying power, you want to remove all of the parts that are annoying. Because basically, if it becomes super annoying, then you're going to quit. If it's too annoying. And for me, it got really annoying to, I work with an editor now. She's really great. But it's still, I'm really picky about what teaser I like. So it's if she puts a 30-second soundbite at the original, at the beginning, and I don't totally like it, then that adds steps in the editing process. And I'm this is becoming annoying. And that's not her fault, right? That's my fault for being super picky. But at the end of the day, it's no one is or isn't listening because of the teaser. It's not like it's more important for me to not quit than it is for me to have a teaser. It's more important for me to continue this into the future than it is for me to have a teaser. And so my philosophy, for right or for wrong, has been to take anything that's a pain in the ass out of the process, because so long as I'm still not getting paid for this and so long as I'm still just paying for it because of passion and stuff, I just don't want any part of the process to suck. So that's, I guess I'll pause there for additional questions.
Yeah, so just bouncing off the sorry, I'm your screen here. So you go from Riverside to like an editing thing, then the editing thing to like a Simplecast, and then Simplecast, you like link it to wherever you have your podcast or platforms on, and it uploads it.
Yeah, so you do that when you set up your Simplecast account, right? You'll like go register with Apple Podcasts, go create a Spotify account and link it. Maybe it goes create a Pandora account, maybe an Amazon Music account. You'll get like your unique username, right? Like my username is, pandora.com/basketball. And then like we'll walk you through some authorization step. But then you set that up once at the beginning, and it will just like from that point forward distribute the RSS feed to all of those major platforms. And then
how does it? Is it just built in? Like it'll just pick up the audio, no video, if it's going to like Apple Podcasts, for example?
Yeah, so I don't know how people upload video to Spotify. That's not something I've learned to do yet, but not that was your question. So I upload back, if I screen share against Simplecast. In Simplecast, I upload an MP3 file. And then on YouTube, I upload an MP4 file. And then sometimes on Simplecast, I upload an M4A, which is just a different file format for audio only. But you have a Mac, I believe, and
yeah,
it doesn't really matter. But on your Mac, so what I do, because the audio and the video are no different in terms of how I edit them, right? The audio is just the video without the picture.
Yeah.
I don't have like separate things on this, etc. So I just use QuickTime. I have either myself or the editor edit the full everything, like have it exactly how you want it to go up on YouTube. And then you just go into QuickTime and press export as audio only, and that's what you upload to the audio platform. So I either use Descript if I had to edit it myself, or whenever I was editing myself, I was using Descript, 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 and it's blue. The logo has a D in it, and you export, you do whatever you want to do, right? Combine the intro, maybe like someone had to take a bathroom break and you like chop that out, chop out the pause, we all went to get snacks and came back, or whatever. Like someone got a phone call and you want to just like redo like a certain part. I mean, honestly, I think for the record, if you start producing a podcast, you become way more aware of how much, let's say, unprofessional or quote imperfections exist on the shows that you already listen to, and it just doesn't bother you. Right? It's kind of raw. Like I think talk shows, people like personalities and people like to listen to like real people they can relate to. And just being overproduced is not worth the effort most of the time, unless you're like NPR, right? Which you're not, and there's no reason to be. I don't even know if I like NPR, but that's like not even a point. I like How I Built This, but that's an overproduced show, and that's kind of what people expect from like an NPR podcast. But if it's like three dudes that are just fun personalities with like super knowledgeable about college basketball, I don't think you need to be overproduced. But the point is, when it's ready to publish, right? Maybe you want to add some stuff to the video, right? You want to like drop your logo on the video, or drop your Instagram handle under your name, or drop like a little name card when the guest comes up. It's like, this guy's this guy. He's like this guy from, I don't know, Duke, or he's this guy from UNLV, or he's this guy from Oregon. And you want to like drop their socials on the picture. Like you'll add all those, they're called annotations, or at least I call them annotations, video annotations or layers to the video in something like Descript. Export it when it's done as a video file, drop the video file on YouTube, and then do export as audio only and upload that to your Simplecast or your Castbox or your Libsyn or your Anchor. And then
so
you just
Descript
press publish.
is where you.
And it goes
I
to
was
the
just saying, so Descript is where you do like all of your editing after Riverside for the most part.
Yep. So I go into the Riverside dashboard, export everything, and then and there's like certain export settings I can show you. But I can show you those now, actually. But Riverside.f. Okay, just kidding. So what's funny, my apartment complex blocks like half the websites I want to use unless I use a VPN. And, well, actually, the dashboard should be fine. but honestly don't know even how to find it right now without turning back the VPN back on. But basically, you just go in and choose if you want to have like 3 side-by-side videos, or if you just want to have big face, small face, and then automatically use AI to kind of switch it based on who's talking. And then if you want to like use their automatic background noise remover, different features like that, put that into script, chop it up if you want to do any chopping, or layering or adding images, and then export it. So
could you like share your screen and show like as many of those steps as possible?
yes.
So like that'd be a beneficial portion.
Yeah, you're the one who, doesn't know what I know, in the sense of like,
Yeah.
to me, everything I'm saying is obvious because I know it, but that's obviously not helpful to you. Okay, perfect. So I'll screen share this window, and
I feel like that visualization is key, just to see the steps.
Oh, no, for sure. So I was listening to this podcast today with this guy named Cold Email Wizard, and he's saying like, go to the YouTube video. Cold Email Wizard. You want to watch the YouTube videos that show you literally the buttons to press. So let me go back a step. We're here in the Riverside FM dashboard. The Lewis studio is kind of garbage. I don't really know what's going on there. Lewis and Kyle show, view recordings, how to podcast, right? That's what we're doing now. So it's tracks and process. Let's go to Jacob Greenfeld, because he was cool as heck. So Jacob, I guess it might be a better example actually to do one with 3 people. So Darren Smith, he was also very cool. But so you can see here, I can download just Darren's video in the full quality, the full 1920 by 1080. I can download just Kyle's video. I can download just mine. And then those are some automated images, but I can export, actually not export, edit, full length post, right? And pull it in all the tracks, 0, 1, 2. For some reason, I'm not loading. And then kind of choose the order. So, right, Lewis and Kyle show, probably the guest should be in the middle. So let's make him 1, Kyle 2, me 0. So I'm on the left. And if we scrub this, right, you can see that now it looks like that. But change the layout, keep the aspect ratio. We don't want to do that one. I like to round the corners. I think that's a little bit more aesthetic. Strip the background, or if you have like a little logo, or maybe you wanted to add like your colors or something. But no background and tracks. Yeah. So that's, and then export. Normalize audio means, I believe, kind of take everyone to the same level. But the problem is that occasionally that can go astray and pull in. If I had like a background noise the whole time, it'll make my background noise as loud as everyone talking. So I usually don't normalize. Remove background noise, and normally do, and then remove watermark. That's the Riverside FM logo. I export that, and then I'll get an email notification when that's done. But it's going to look something like this when it's done, because I've already done this one. And I'll just download it to my computer. That one, I believe, has the AI mode on. But just download it, and that'll be cool. So, yeah. But the other one, I guess, edit, full-length video, tracks, put Darren at the bottom, making the base layer. But this, I call shared AI, is where the guest is on the screen based on whoever, or it's where whoever's talking is full screen. And then that's what that setting is. And you can put a title in it there, but you can keep track. So that's the first bit of, that's that piece of the process.
And then after that, where would you go? Do you then download that into the Descript like you were saying?
Yeah, so let me see if I'm logged into Descript. So fortunately, I do have an editor now, and I've not had to get my hands dirty with editing in quite some time. She's been great. But
we're going to be in the trenches at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it. So we've published 120 episodes. I can, oh, that is a terrible face I'm making there. I don't know if I want to demo with a mustache episode, as painful as that is to say. Alex, I do not believe I had a mustache when we interviewed Alex. I hope. Okay.
Respect the stash.
Bro, my stash was dirty. But, okay, we'll go back to the stash episode because it's the only one I have downloaded. Because I was making clips from that the other day because I found some, I was listening to it and I'm like, that dude just dropped straight fire. And I want to make that a clip of its own. All right, we're going to share a window, Descript, boom. Okay. We're into script. Can you see the script?
Yeah.
So Descript automatically generates I think 95% accurate transcript of the episode. And it also automatically, assigns a label to who said what.
Also, does Descript take it from video form? I don't know why I said it like that. From video form to audio form then?
So I usually don't do it that way. I will just share my whole screen. I apologize for people who don't have as big of a screen as I have. But so when Descript is done, right, you can do a project file export as, let me actually move it onto this screen, but as, where'd that go? File, new, what the heck? A composition export, and then audio or video, right? I usually just edit the video. I mean, actually, when I edit from this, so my process was different when I was doing it myself versus, again, working with the editor. But yeah, so when it's all said and done, export the audio and then export the video.
And then
that'll
on here could
end up on your desktop.
Let's say you want to get like a little segment for like Instagram Reels or TikTok.
Yep.
Is this a place where you could like pick out like 12 seconds or whatever?
Exactly. So literally just like highlight the clip, right? So actually this one? I'm trying to remember how I did this. But so in Riverside, again, you can actually download the video in vertical format, which is way helpful. I don't know where, it's probably under here as like vertical, Aaron. I might have done that on my laptop though. Shrimp Climber, what it is, how to build your own robot army 58. Let's try Shrimp Climber for a second. Climber narrow. So I downloaded the same files. Remember when I showed you the export options in Riverside?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not loading the preview because I did this on a different computer. So let me actually show you this while that's loading. So share, window, Riverside, share, boom. So can you see this?
Yeah, just loaded
So now I can actually export the episode in story structure. You see, now it's clipped to like an iPhone's dynamics, or an iPhone's dimensions is the proper term. And again, I can choose the same layout options, shared AI, where the guest, whoever's speaking, is full screen, or I can do the grid with gaps, etc. So yeah, you can export the full file in those different formats. Let me change it again here. Grid with gaps, grid, full frame AI, split AI, or sidebar. So then export that. And then when you have that in Descript, you can, this is what I was just going to show you again. Share, window, trim climber, boom. But trim clip 3, perfect. So here's an actual clip I made, which is probably more helpful to see. And let me make this a little larger. So I went through the episode, right, the full episode, found some text I liked, found like a great little segment that was an awesome soundbite, and then I put it in here. And you can see play, right? Boom, boom, and it automatically generates those captions based on the transcript. And so you can go in here and highlight it and press correct. And that'll you can modify the text to be the right version, or like to say the right words and to be spelled correctly, just if there's a transcription error. I think I might be having a slight issue with where you're at, internet-wise.
Like what, my connection's bad?
You're good.
Is that what you're saying?
You're still hearing it though?
Yeah, I can hear and see you fine.
Okay, perfect. So the thing with Riverside that's really nice is even if your connection's bad, your computer is still going to be recording you in high quality and uploading it. So even though you and I right now aren't experiencing a super high quality video call, Riverside's still going to record onto your computer a high quality one where I had your video the whole time, even though right now I don't have it.
That's major.
It's major.
So then, yeah, so I guess the part where I'm still confused on then, I get the video side, but if you keep like the video and audio version, or I guess just the video version from Riverside to like Descript, and then you upload it to like a Simplecast,
Mhm.
if you download then and there the MP3 file, it just takes the audio away from the video, and then we'll upload that to whatever podcast form you have saved there.
Yes. So I could do this one of two ways. So let me show you both ways. Into script, right? So we have this video file, Aaron Clymer, right? I have that little caption that says CEO of Data Climber, which is this company. I have this little progress bar, file, composition, export, audio only. And that's going to just export purely an MP3 file to wherever you want to put it. And
So you can basically edit them, like you were saying, the exact same way, and then just at the end just export it into a different M3 versus M4.
exactly. And versus, let me show you something else here now. So this is some alpha. I say alpha, probably incorrect usage of the word alpha. So now we're going to share this whole screen, and I hope there's nothing incriminating on my desktop. Yeah, there's not. Nice incriminating in the what's it called? The colloquial sense, just like embarrassing, not illegal. But can you see this? Okay. Oh goodness, that was pretty terrible for
like
the people on video.
Like screen on screen on screen on screen on screen.
But now it's not, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is an episode. I'm checking to make sure I like it, and then I'm going to publish it. But so my editor recorded and edited this full video and sends me the video in Box, right? So I have Finder over here, right? The Lewis and Kyle Show interviews in progress. And she said edited, right? What TikTok 1, 2, and 3 to review, like the little vertical ideas, and then the fully edited video file and the fully edited audio file. But if I change anything, I can just go in here, right? File, export as, audio only. And so now it's going to be that guy's full episode just in the audio, just the MP3 file. And then that I can go and upload into, which I actually needed to do and forgot to do. Or when I was closing all my tabs so we'd have better internet speed for this recording, I closed out without saving my progress. But so now I can go here to Simplecast and import Jacob Greenfeld edited. And so that's going to now upload his audio only file to Simplecast. And then when I'm ready to publish it, I will, when I'm ready to publish it, I'll just hit, publish, and it'll be on Spotify.
And then you create like your Spotify or Apple Music or whatever accounts before, and then you tie those into Simplecast, right? Not
well, I would just create Simplecast first.
Simplecast first.
Create Simplecast first, and then it'll show you some steps to. So if we come here, settings, distribution, right? Then distribution channels. You click all these boxes and it'll show you how to like submit your podcast to those different platforms and authenticate it and stuff.
That's crazy. So you're really just using then like Riverside, Descript, and Simplecast. Like those are like the main three.
Yep. And then Canva, I guess, for basic graphic design. For like the YouTube
I guess
thumbnails.
It is just more so just daunting and tedious at first. You think like there's just so much.
And it definitely took me some time to like find this, but yeah, Riverside, create the thumbnails, Riverside to record both the audio and the video for all the different people, Canva to do the graphic design, Simplecast to distribute, and Descript to do the editing. But if y'all are in college, so you might get Premiere Pro for free. If you're one of those Photoshop schools, but Premiere Pro is way harder to learn than Descript, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And just straight up, you don't need it for what you're trying to accomplish week 1, day 1.
Yeah.
But then, you just go to YouTube and upload stuff. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? How to upload to YouTube. It's like posting on social media.
Yeah.
That's probably not even worth showing.
That part we got down.
Yeah. But as far as technical stuff, yeah.
I feel like that definitely
answered
and helped a ton. I went from knowing nothing about doing podcasts to now feeling decently comfortable in what, 15 minutes?
30 minutes and 10 seconds. But maybe the people listening are at 2x speed. And then, Calendly. I'm sure you used Calendly before for like scheduling. If like you have a guest and you can like buy a Calendly premium account that synchronizes you and all of your co-hosts' calendars into one, so that like it can like choose availability without having to text all your boys like, hey, Adam, just LeBron James wants to come on the podcast next Tuesday work. Obviously,
are you manifesting right now?
Y'all would probably clear your schedules for LeBron James, but it's like
call in sick, skip a class or two.
Text your wife, hey, or your fiance, hey, we're gonna have to move the wedding by a day.
Yeah.
But Jordan Harbinger, when he interviewed Kobe Bryant, I think I actually have a clip of this on the channel. But I was like, how did you interview Kobe Bryant? He's like, well, I got an email from Kobe Bryant's manager that was like, hey, do you want to interview Kobe? And he's like, yes. I was like, oh, wow, that's not the version of the story I was expecting.
No. That's nuts.
But
yes, I mean, that answers, I guess, most of the technical stuff. I guess I would just leave it to like an open-ended question to you on just general recommendations, like not from the technical side, just from like the running the podcast side. Like if you could start over, what would you begin with if you were a beginner today?
Well, those are two different questions, I guess. But I'm going to just get what's in my head out of my head first, which is, I assume you know these guys really well and have been friends with them for a long time, but just make sure you're on the same page. I don't know if y'all are just going to split all the expensive down the middle. If someone's like, if there's like one of y'all are broke and someone else is just kind of like, don't worry, like I got it. It's like $40 a month. It's not a big deal. I don't know. Just like make sure that you have those conversations. This is just like general, like forming a partnership with friends that involves money in a responsible way, right? Just like, don't be ambiguous with that stuff. Just like, okay, this is what it's going to cost. Is everyone on board with this? And then depending on how you want to brand it, if you want to brand it generically versus like, do you want to make it something where no matter what, full stop, all three of you have to be there every week? Are you going to publish, like kind of just deciding? There's probably like a list of questions I'm missing here, but like, what's your cadence? Do you trust that everyone's going to stick to it? And then this is something we did right at the outset. Right isn't correctly, and right isn't right at the beginning. But we said that we were going to do at least 25 episodes before we even like looked at the analytics and even like thought about if we wanted to quit or not. So you need to like get crystal clear with because like you're going to publish one episode, then two, then three, then four, and like no one's going to listen, or maybe people listen, right? But like no one isn't like not a meaningful amount of people, potentially, just more than likely. I'm not saying like you're not going to, I'm saying just it'll probably be less. Just seeing if you compare yourself to like Nelk, right? You look at like the Full Send podcast. Like your numbers aren't going to look like their numbers. Well, I can at least say that much in the first 10 episodes. And that doesn't matter, right? Because that's not why you're doing this. But you will, even though that's not why you're doing this and you know that, you'll still feel discouraged because it's just no one likes to not pop off. But that's not why you wanted to start. So why should it matter?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just like commit to how long you're going to commit before you check the dashboards and before you look at the numbers and before you like call the project a success or a failure, right? So like if your goal is to start a business and you're like, well, I didn't make $100,000 in my second month, this is clearly a bad idea. It's like, no, it just takes more than 2 months most of the time to get things right. So it takes more than 10 episodes to get things right. It takes more than 25 episodes to get things right. But once you're at about 25, if you just fucking hate it after 25 episodes, then like maybe that's reasonable. But I would say you should probably say like, I'm not starting this project with you two until the three of us are like absolutely for certain doing 25 episodes published before we quit, before we even think about if we should continue or not. And then at 25, do another 25 and be like, okay, now we're committing to doing another 25 before we question and reevaluate. And then also, just like getting, so we bought decent equipment at the outset, not great cameras, to be honest. There's a lot of episodes we have that don't have the best video quality, but just buy a decent microphone and have your boys.
Is that microphone that USB mic that you said? I'm assuming you just plug that into your computer or something.
Yeah, you don't need. I mean, the Shure mics are good for sure. I still don't have one. I don't think that that's been the difference maker, right? I don't think like my podcast has been more or less popular because of that. It's like, as long as you don't sound like you're in a fishbowl, you're fine.
So to start, do you think just the AirPods and the MacBook Air is fine, or would you? If
the AirPods are decent.
If you have the budget, would you recommend getting the USB then?
I would buy at least $100. Well, not $100 mic. I'd buy at least a $50 mic. What's the mic that I had? The other one I had. I had the.
And then with the mic, you still have your AirPods on to listen, right?
Well, yeah, that's just what you hearing. That's just so the audio doesn't come out and
audio
feed back
picking
into
up.
the microphone and
Gotcha.
create an echo effect. But the thing is, now that Apple has, I'm trying to remember microphone, but I'm trying to remember what the other one was called. But the brand name. The thing is, when I started back in my day, Apple did not have, and I was saying back in my day, tongue in cheek, Apple did not have the native ability to use your iPhone as a webcam. You had to buy you had to get some software and kind of configure it and get a little custom with it. And I'd pay like $40 a year for that software, and it's kind of annoying. But now it's like y'all all probably have at least iPhone 10s, maybe at least 7s, or at least even an Android. And so now you can just natively use your phone as your camera.
So you recommend, like how I'm on my computer now on Riverside, you recommend actually being on your phone?
No. So I'm on Riverside as well on my laptop or Mac Mini, whatever. But my phone is my webcam on a mouse behind my screen.
And then it's just like the back-facing camera?
Yep.
The main camera?
Yep.
And then what? Is there like a setting on Riverside? You have to connect it through Bluetooth or something?
So it's not through Riverside. It's through your Mac settings. It's honestly, I didn't have to set it up. It just worked. But so you see here, it says camera, right? And it says C922 Pro Stream. So that's like a LG webcam I have, or Lewis camera. So my phone. So that's how you just change. It's just like on Zoom, right? You change your microphone. You just change your camera to be something else. I just could not, for the life of me, remember the name of this microphone.
How did you pair it to that? Or you don't remember?
How did I pair my phone to? I'll just Google it.
To your computer to Riverside.
Yeah. Well, so if it's paired to your computer, it's going to be a video option for any video app you're in by default automatically. But how to use iPhone as webcam 2022. Right. Continuity camera, use iPhone for Mac as webcam. Yeah, it just works. I don't know. It's like connecting AirPods. It's like, how do you connect AirPods? So it's like, buy a pair of AirPods, open your phone, and it's going to end up working. And then make sure your software is updated on your Mac to the latest. Yeah. I guess this isn't the most helpful answer, but you got my number.
I can always Google it too.
You got my number. You got Google's phone number. People listening, I imagine you'll be able to figure it out. But if someone's if someone's made it this far and they've they've made it this far, and the only thing they can't figure out is how to make their iPhone their webcam, you can reply to it and leave a comment on this video, and
That'd be crazy.
I'll see to it that we push through that obstacle.
That'd be nuts.
Yeah.
Venmo $5 to the person who gets here.
Yeah. Trying to think what else I have for you.
I think you hit on a lot of the just beginner stuff.
Yes. I was just thinking if I gave a weak answer to anything I would do differently from the outset. But basically I've never regretted buying the better equipment and the better lighting. I have 10 episodes from this apartment where my backdrop was just totally plain. And that kind of looking at the quality of this episode compared to those, I got some books now. I'm gonna have a piano soon. I'm gonna have lighting. Definitely buy some lights. 100% buy some just a ring light, bro. Basic ring light.
Yeah.
Huge difference. I'm crystal clear, baby.
Yeah.
And it's even with a bad camera does fine in good lighting. So
that's a good point.
Just a little ring light.
Yeah.
And then basically,
I'm just gonna say I feel like you touched on everything. At least good variety for the beginning.
Yeah, hell yes. I would say just remove potential obstacles to quitting from the outset.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you have to do this for the rest of your life, but if you're going to do it, you need to do it long enough to say that you gave it a fair shot.
Exactly.
And so those obstacles are, it's like divorces, right? Why do people get divorced? It's money. It's like the same thing. All divorces fall into 3 categories. And it's money, commitment, expectations, different values, right? So it's just make sure.
I'm reading a chapter out of this right now.
18 and Lost. So where dude, I brought 7 copies of that here.
You're giving a whole lesson right now. I feel like a few of those quotes I read in that book.
Dude, I read that book too. It's a good book. Shout out Joe Wiebe and all the co-authors, and Scott and Tyler and Byron, and then the other 5 who are also really cool that I've not spent as much time with. But remove the obstacles to quitting, which are money and not having the same expectations and not having the same values. So just like really get clear with your friends on like, what are our goals for this project? Are we on the same page? Do we have compatible goals? Do we want the same thing long term? And do we all agree to this minimum level of commitment? And is everyone comfortable contributing at least whatever? And if you can like pre-buy, like so like psychologically for me, it's super helpful to like prepay for the annual stuff on some of this.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, now I don't have to worry about like, it's like, oh, you know, you just don't want these negative reminders coming in about the show. That's like, oh, look, I got this. I didn't make any money from the show this month, but now I have to pay $20 for this, and I have to pay $20 for this. It's like, if you can just buy a year, if you just have that money sitting somewhere, then it's just like, okay, now I don't have to worry about that for like a year. So remove all the shit from the process. But yeah, remove any likely reasons you'd quit. But that's my take for the day. So yeah. Anything else while we're here and recording and I have my lights on and I got my phone mounted?
No, that was good. I mean, pretty much answered all the big basic stuff, I feel like.
Alrighty, so a couple things we'll do for fun here and then we'll sign off. Dave, get me hyped about the show. Let's practice your sales pitch for the show.
What do you mean? Like what's it gonna be? What's it gonna feature?
Like who's gonna listen to the show? Who's like the chart like who do you think's gonna others do? Just people who like college basketball?
Yeah, I would just say college basketball, fans, managers, just anyone who
players
likes
maybe
the game or is involved in the game. Yeah, because we have just a lot of knowledge, a lot of connections within the industry, and we probably won't even limit it to, it'll be catered to college basketball, but like could touch on some NBA stuff, could touch on like high school stuff. So just basketball in
high
general.
School stuff would be cool too.
Yeah, and then
that's like super
goal
niche.
Is to probably every episode, sort of like the style you do, just have like a different guest person on it that's involved in like the game or like sports or just catered to basketball.
Yes.
So each episode is going to be, you know, different and full of new information. So you're not going to hear the same stuff over and over.
Yeah, I would stick to basketball for sure. I think it's fine to like, again, emphasis on college basketball. High school obviously is relevant for college. And then if you're like chatting about like players, then you give like the history, right? You're like, oh, you know, this guy was a player at Ohio State back in the day, and like back when he was there, this coach was there, and look, you know, this was when they were doing X, Y, and Z. So that's cool. Yeah. Cool. Well, David, hopefully in a couple months from now, we're leaving comments on this video saying, "Hey, he went through with it. He made the podcast. Do you have a goal for when you want to have the first episode published? Are you like for sure you want to do this, or are you still like, and then maybe we want to do the stage?"
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm definitely in, and the 2 people I'm doing it with seem in. I'm sort of tasked with gathering all this information and then distributing it. So I'll definitely share this with them.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. We already got 2 people who need to listen to this episode. I was like, I've had this conversation so many times, and like, I'm not saying that in like a negative way. I'm just like, at the end of the day, I got to take my own advice and just record conversations, bro. Loom is a superpower. Like recording video tutorials.
Our goal is January 2023 because we'll all be back for a few days over winter break. So I think that's when we're going to have sit down meeting, go through everything, see who actually wants to go through with it, who doesn't. And hopefully January 23, we got 3 people up and running it.
Yeah. And then I would say have 5 episodes recorded before you publish your first episode. I missed that one. So record 5 before you publish 1.
What's the benefit behind that?
So you can just start consistent, like posting on a consistent basis. I guess I don't know how timely these episodes need to be if you're like talking about like the week in sports versus if you're talking about like sports more in the abstract. But you still want to publish it, then have to scramble in the first week to like get the next one out. You know, you just want to you want to start a little bit ahead and have some momentum. Yeah. So, or you can even drop 5 episodes at once, like drop like 3 on day 1. Just so like people, if they like it, can listen to a second episode right away.
Yeah.
And if they like that, then they can listen to a 3rd episode right away. But yeah, we drop like 3 in our first week, so which is helpful. You just want to like seed it, right? It's like you don't want to publish a book that only has 1 chapter. It's like, you know, just publish it with a little bit of meat on the bone. But yeah, dude. So Dave Diddy, where are you on social media? If people want to follow you and just be like, this is good. Did he go through with it? etc.
Yeah, so the personal Instagram, because that's all we have right now. Eventually we'll make one for the podcast once it gets up, but personal on Instagram is just Dave.Diddy. So just Dave, the actual just one character period, and then DIDDY. And then Twitter is just David Canner OSU for Ohio State University.
Got it right here. Say with the chest. Perfect.
Sir, OH.
And cool. Hit me up if you've got other questions. And people, if you are interested, if there's something we didn't cover, leave it in the comments.
Appreciate the time as always, Cuzzo.
Yes, sir. All right, I'm going to stop the recording here.